There are heroes among us.
Courageous women and men that stand between us and forces that threaten our well-being.
Our way of life, our ideals of freedom and opportunity.
These brave men and women also bravely protect the well-being. The way of life, the ideals of freedom and opportunity.
The ideals of freedom and opportunity for the billions of people on the globe.
These brave men and women are volunteers. They walk the deadly line so that I
And others can choose to live the life that they want to live. We call those heroes veterans.
But in my heart, I acknowledge their greatness every day.
There are 5. Not 5, now 6.
Branches of the U.S. military.
The first branch, the oldest branch, the branch that paved the way for others, is the U.S. Army.
Established on June 3, 1784, to replace the disbanded Continental Army, the army that served as the midwife for the birth of the greatest of nations, the United States of America.
The U.S. Army has a constant mission, a sacred mission, to deploy, fight, and win our nation's wars.
By providing ready, prompt, and sustained land dominance.
By Army forces across the full spectrum of conflict as part of the joint force.
This we will defend.
The U.S. Army has successfully completed uncountable missions defending both the USA and our allies.
An original brand of brothers, and now brothers with sisters.
In 1990, the U.S. Army was the linchpin of the multi-force operation known as Desert Storm.
The brave men and women of this operation liberate the tiny nation of Kuwait,
completing the action in 6 months, effectively dismantling the enemy's capacity to attack. The action protected an innocent nation and sent the message to the world that the U.S. Army will indeed defend and protect.
The USA started as a series of colonies and broke away. Part of the reason for this breakaway was the ocean that separated colonies from the British Empire.
The vast Atlantic required military forces to protect American interests. Established March 27, 1794, like its sibling, the Army, the Navy evolved from the earlier established Continental Navy,
with a mission that today extends to every ocean in the world. A mission that requires the Navy to recruit, train, equip, and organize to deliver combat-ready naval forces to win conflicts and wars, while maintaining security and deterrence throughout sustained forward presence.
The U.S. Navy uses sustained forward presence to assert American interests all over the world.
Semper Fortis, always courageous.
Naval courage was clearly demonstrated in 1988. Operation Praying Mantis was engaged.
The U.S. Navy crippled the Iranian Navy in a one-day operation, one of the most decisive naval victories in the history of the world. The U.S. Navy does indeed live up to the declaration, not for self, but country.
USA requires versatile expeditionary force. The U.S. military officially established such a force on July 11, 1798. The U.S. Marine Corps, Semper Fi.
The modern Marine Corps also evolved from the Continental Marines, the force used in the USA's battle for freedom from an oppressive government. The modern Marines serve as America's expeditionary force.
The Marines are forward deployed to win our nation's battles swiftly and aggressively in times of crisis.
They fight on land, sea, and air, as well as provide forces and detachments to naval ships on ground operations.
In 2004, the Marines twice led missions to the city of Fallujah: Operation Vigilant Resolve, Operation Phantom Fury.
To remove forces that were hostile to the USA
and to restore the city to the citizenry of Fallujah. They restored the city to its citizens by fighting block after grueling block, and removed forces that are hostile to me and my way of life.
As the nation grew and the nation's economy developed, new threats against our well-being emerged. Threats that targeted our economy.
These threats include danger from smuggling, spying, piracy, and trade disruption.
Semper Paratus.
Today's modern Coast Guard was established January 28, 1915. The modern Coast Guard has emerged from a combination of many services, including the original Revenue Cutter Service.
The U.S. Coast Guard has a sacred mission: to protect 95,471 miles of coastline and 12,000 miles of navigable rivers in the USA.
To strengthen our trade and economy, to protect us from spies, saboteurs, and smugglers, and traffickers.
To protect our maritime environment, and to protect we, the people. On a typical day, the U.S. Coast Guard will
conduct 109 search and rescue operations, save 10 human lives, assist 192 people in distress, protect $2.8 million of personal property, and seize 169 pounds of marijuana and 306 pounds of cocaine, keeping us safe and keeping our economy secure.
As technology changes, so do the threats to the American way of life, but so does America's response to these threats.
Starting off as a division within the U.S. Army, the U.S. Air Force was established as its own military branch September 8, 1947.
A team of daredevils that calculated the risks to advance American interests. The motto, "Aim high, fly, fight, win," speaks to their mission,
which is to fly, fight, and win in the air, space, and cyberspace, protecting us in the American way in vehicles that exceed the speed of sound, and that can defeat Earth's gravitational pull.
Up to 35,573 coalition airstrikes made against the terrorist forces of ISIL. More than 80% of them were conducted by the U.S. Air Force.
clearing the path for other branches, destroying ISIL's capability of waging war and hurting innocent people, protecting us, our interests, and our way of life.
And now a new branch, a sixth branch.
Joins the group of American heroes known as the U.S. military, the United States Space Force.
Growing out of the scientific community of NASA and the heroes of the U.S. Air Force, the United States Space Force was established by Congress on December 20th, 2019.
Semper Supra. The mission of the Space Force is to be the backbone of the U.S. military operation.
By maintaining, protecting, and expanding the military satellites of the USA, a series of watchful eyes, guardians, that will let us know when danger is rising in any part of the world, and will give us information needed to act decisively when needed
and to keep the world safe. The U.S. Space Force is young, but its legacy can be traced back to courageous pioneers in engineering, physics, and exploration.
To a time when the first words were spoken from the surface of the moon were, "Houston, tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed," as Neil Armstrong said. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Using Newtonian physics to defy gravity's force, a flight to the stars is the hero's course.
Harnessing a fire of 5,500 degrees of heat, the heroes of the Space Force execute an incredible feat.
Beyond the atmosphere and the depths of space, they protect our nation from any threats we may face.
Engineers, scientists, and pilots of glory, this is the beginning of the sixth branch story.
Rockets, shuttles, satellites, and stations are just the start of their service to the nation.
Plans include a return to the moon, a voyage to Mars, and after all of that, maybe to the stars.
Whether they travel to infinity and beyond through the final frontier, the members of the Space Force will be in our hearts right here.
There's no need to wonder where the heroes are.
There are more than 1.3 million active duty service personnel in a combined U.S. military.
And more than 2.18 million that have retired to the civilian life.
And more than 500,000 heroes are ready to answer the call in the National Guard.
More than 3.98 million heroes as part of the USA.
We'll never truly understand the nature of your sacrifice.
We will never truly understand the challenges that you had to overcome.
We will never truly understand the tenacity that you must have to brave the dangers that you face.
But you did face them, and you bested them.
And for that, we respect you.
We thank higher powers for you.
We thank you.
And most importantly, we love you.